right, it is now time for the main event. As we live our lives as people, all too often we encounter a lot of hard times and we encounter a lot of struggles. And one of the hardest things to do is to talk about those struggles. A lot of times it takes a lot of courage and bravery to do so. And I'm so excited that the person that is speaking tonight has shown such courage and bravery to sign up to do this. So please give it up for the speaker tonight, Mr. Denny Knapp.
I'm on, aren't I?
Keep talking.
Keep talking? Is it working?
You're not on, Dennis.
I got him.
The green button's on.
The green light is on. We're going to do this, Denny.
I'm receiving nothing.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Mine works. It's got a good signal.
I'm on, boss.
He's on mic 3, Chris.
Oh, he is?
He's on mic 3.
Well, there we go.
You know, that's right after 2.
ABC, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm with you.
You're with me.
Yeah.
Now you can turn it down. Jeez. Anyway, my name's Denny Knapp. This is the only church I've ever gone to. And I was born in 1951. I've been here almost 66 years. And to fast forward, everything in my childhood was just fine. To fast forward a few years, the things that started to really affect me was my father-in-law died in 1985 in April, and then my dad turned around and died in 1985 in May on my father-in-law's birthday. So that kind of pulled the rug out from under me in both ways. And so I just kind of floated along, did my own thing, rode my motorcycle, Mr. Tough Guy. And if you don't believe it, you can ask my kids. They know. I was not a very nice person. And then 1989, my mom remarried to my dad's best friend, and that lasted 18 months, and he died of emphysema. And so it was still going downhill. And what really hurt me the most was in 1993, my mom died on a severe tractor accident out on the farm where she lived. And so that really pulled the rug out. Everybody said I had changed. Well, you know, that's why. But after that, I thought everything was going all right, and then a year later, in June, my wife, now my ex-wife, decided she didn't want anything more to do with us. So she just packed a bag and got in her car and left. And here I stood with 2 grade school kids and 1 toddler. And so I had to bite the bullet and step up the way I was told to step up and do my thing. But it was hard. And so I went ahead and did the party life, a lot of bar scenes, a lot of everything. And to fast forward now down to 2000, I just, in the year 2000, I just started to feel like, you know, crap. It just, no energy, couldn't stay awake, couldn't do anything. I could sit in the doctor's office and talk to my doctor and fall asleep right in the middle of a conversation. And he didn't think that was right, so he sent me to Iowa City 3 or 4 times to have tests done and everything. They didn't find anything. And so I came back, and I came back in November, right before Thanksgiving of 2000, and I took and had problems with a dull ache in my left side, and I told my daughter I just didn't feel good. And by that time, she called the ambulance, which I was kind of a frequent flyer of them because they've been to my house so many times during the year. And they took me to the hospital, to Satori with double pneumonia. And they said I had an irregular heartbeat, so they tried to slow it down. They shocked me twice with 500 the first time and 700 the second time. It didn't do any good. And so they admitted me, and they tried to get the pneumonia under control. And during that 2-week stay at Satori, I developed yellow jaundice. And I mean, I looked like a banana peel. That's how yellow I was. Everything, eyes, everything were gone. And they diagnosed me at that time with cirrhosis of the liver. I said, oh, okay, I can understand that because I did do a lot of drinking. But the one afternoon, my doctor came in, Dr. Elsag came in, and he looked at me and he said, I guess it was in the morning, late morning, and he said that he looked at me and he said, something's not right. You're going to Iowa City. We can either fly you to Iowa City or we can put you in an ambulance and go. But my daughter was saying, well, I got to get Andy out of school. I need some time to get him out. He said, you got 20 minutes. We're leaving whether you're here or not. He's going. And that's a ride I don't even remember. It was the fastest ride they said they've ever taken to Iowa City. They had a highway patrolman in front of the ambulance, my daughter's car, and one behind. And I don't remember any of it. I woke up, I woke up in first part of December in the ICU, and I pretty much had a permanent room in the ICU because everything was just starting to quit. And they got me stabilized and everything and back in my room. Got me to where the double pneumonia was doing okay. And the head surgeon came in one day. He said, we're going to put you on a transplant list for a liver because we have to replace your liver. So I said, okay, fine. And then he left the room and he didn't come back for a while. And then he said, we'll do this liver transplant the 13th of January, 2001. And I said, okay, fine. Well, 2 days before the surgery, he came back in the room and he says, hey, we can't do this liver transplant. We got to fix your heart. And I said, what's the matter with my heart? He said, well, apparently your pericardium sac is calcified rock hard. And that, if you don't know, that's the cushion that you have around your heart that collects fluid in your body, and if you get an infection, that's a lot of times where it goes, is around the pericardium sac, so it can be absorbed. But mine was calcified rock hard, so it wasn't doing anything, except squeezing my heart down to the size of a tennis ball. So consequently, the reason I had cirrhosis of the liver was because my heart wasn't pumping the blood. I had cirrhosis of the liver, my kidneys had started to quit, and I was a mess. He came in 2 days before that, and I asked him how he's going to do it, and he said, well, we'll just split your chest open, take your heart out and set it on your chest, and take the pericardium sac off, throw it away. So, okay, that's fine. And, no, honestly, that's what I said. Okay, I didn't have anything where to go. So, he told me it'd take about 6 to 7 hours. Well, needless to say, it took 12 hours. I was on the table for 12 hours. I was on the ventilator. They had me on a dialysis machine, and they had about 19 tubes tied into me. And they told my daughter that the reason it took so long was because my heart stopped 3 times. I was legally dead 3 times. And the 4th time, if it would have stopped the 4th time before they got done, they didn't know whether or not they could bring me back. But luckily 3 was my lucky number. And so they got the surgery done. Everybody down there was very good. They put me all back together, and then the doctor put me in a drug-induced coma for 3 weeks. And things go on in that state of floating. It's just like you're floating with nowhere to go. And you can hear yourself talking to yourself, but you can't hear anybody else. And so I was getting along, I guess, and I was just hanging out in the coma, and he told my daughter on the 3rd week of the coma that if I didn't start improving, that they should start making arrangements because I wasn't going to come back. And so they were talking to the funeral homes and all that stuff. And they said by Friday, unhook him if he doesn't come around. So while I was in that coma, I tend to think it was the last part of the 3rd week that I can remember saying to myself, I'm tired of being sick. I just want to quit. And when I said that, I got a real calm, peaceful feeling went across me, and it was just like I was floating. No cares, no worries, no nothing. And I was floating towards a bright light. And if you've ever looked at the sun when it's coming up or going down, it's the most beautiful thing you could see. That's what I was looking at. And it seemed like I just almost got to the door. And just like somebody snapped their fingers and I was awake. And so I never got to go through. I never got to see what was on the other side or anything. But I think that was him saying, I'm not done with you. But anyway, after that, it was touch and go for a while. But then when I got back into my room, I looked at the calendar and I asked the nurse, I said, what day is it? And she told me it was about the middle of February, 2001. And I said, no, it isn't. It's the 14th of January. She said, no, you've been out 3 weeks. And so I argued with her for a little bit, and I finally realized, yeah, okay. But after that, it's changed me to where I'm not a tough guy anymore. I have trouble controlling myself sometimes because I'll hear a song on the radio or think of something and I fall apart. And I think that's God telling me I'm still here. And I kind of liken my experience to the poem that the footprints in the sand, where there's 2 footprints in the sand for quite a ways, and then there's one. Well, he carried me for a long time, and he still does every now and then. I know he does. But when the night before my surgery, when I told God, I put my life in your hands, what happens, happens, it'll be fine. And that following day, I looked at my daughter and I said, everything will be fine. I was happy, I was smiling, I was, just like I was going out to visit somebody. And it's amazing. I mean, the feelings that you can have and to know that he's there. And if you screw up, he's not going to kick you, he's going to pick you back up. And I can honestly say the 23rd Psalm is my favorite psalm. Because I did walk through the valley of death, and I did fear no evil. So that's basically what it was. My kidneys are 35%. My liver has no cirrhosis. It's completely without. And I've got some neuropathy in my legs because I laid in bed for almost 5 months without getting up after the surgery. And I can't say enough about the doctors. They just are wonderful. That's my story. All I can say is I know he's with me. And that's it. It's the most wonderful feeling I've ever had. And anybody that knew me before knew that I didn't act this way. I didn't even act this way at my mom and dad's funeral. I mean, you know, so I can't explain it now. It's just, sometimes it irritates me because I look stupid, you know. That's it. Hit it, Chris. So all I can say is if you want to believe in whatever, believe in miracles. Because there's a miracle happening around you all the time. My doctor came in the day before I left and said, hey, we don't know why you're here. As far as we're concerned, you should be dead. But you must have a good guardian angel. We all have guardian angels. I had a good one. And they called me their walking miracle, not our, but their. And look at Mark. He's here. He's got one heck of a guardian angel. Everybody does. Brock Noel, everybody. And that's just the way it is. So that's all I got to say, I guess.
Keep it going for Denny Knapp, ladies and gentlemen.
I did want to play ZZ Top, but they wouldn't let me.
Not the song you wanted.
My other standby stuff.
Because he is a sharp-dressed man, you see. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I want to thank Pastor Matt for being our special guest. And once again, for Denny Knapp for being our special guest. And if Denny's story taught us anything, doesn't matter what you go through or how many times you fall down, God is there to carry you through, and may He carry you through this week. We hope to see you next week, and always, always, always be Christ for one another. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much, Denny. Thank you.